Hey guys, what is going on? And welcome to my first ever daily dose of football. Today is Thursday, November 18th, 2021, and let's just hop right in. So, as I mentioned, today is Thursday, which means we have Thursday night football. As you can see, this week is the New England Patriots led by Mac Jones against the Atlanta Falcons led by Matt Ryan. The spread on this game is New England -7, so New England has to win by more than 7 to properly cover the spread. The over-under for this game is 47 points, and some of the key inactives for Atlanta, the biggest one, of course, being Cordell Patterson is out. Of course, Cordell Patterson is the main vocal point of this Falcons offense, and without him, then I don't know how much they can do on offense because they don't have Calvin Ridley because of his personal issues. They didn't have Julio for the whole year, and that's definitely taken a hit on them. And now without Cordell Patterson, who is the lead running back and can also switch out to play wide receiver, I don't see this offense successfully doing anything against this tough New England defense. More inactives for Atlanta that go underneath the radar is wide receiver Christian Blake, D lineman John Komsky, D lineman Marlon Davidson, D lineman Tyler Davidson, defensive back Kendall Sheffield, and defensive back Jalen Hawkins. On the New England side of the football, not really any big, huge names out for them that will impact them a ton. We have quarterback Jarrett Stidham, who probably would not play anyways. Running back J.J. Taylor, who they don't really need because last week against Cleveland they showed that they can play running back without one of the big names that could lead that backfield. They have tight end David Asiasi out. That shouldn't impact them. They still have Hunter Henry and the other tight end, who hasn't been doing much in Jonnu Smith, but he's gotten targets, he's gotten some catches, but it seems like Hunter Henry is the main tight end there in New England. There's also offensive lineman Yasser Durant and linebacker Lonnie Perkins out for New England. I'm going to talk more about Cordell Patterson now. As I mentioned, he is the main vocal point in that Atlanta offense. Basically, everything goes through him. If you have him in fantasy, you would know he puts up double digits just about every single week, with the exception of last week. He had a poor performance. But other than that, he's been outstanding. Running for touchdowns, catching touchdowns, big running plays, big receiving plays. As I mentioned, over the offseason, obviously we know they got rid of Julio, traded him out to Tennessee, where he hasn't been doing much there. He's been battling injuries, but it really took a hit on this Atlanta offense. Without Calvin Ridley also, who's been dealing with personal issues, I hope he gets better. I hope he can make a good return back to football and be as good as he used to, because he was very good. But without them, they don't have much wide receivers, and you need wide receivers to succeed in the NFL. And Cordell Patterson has been good at being able to switch out there and play wide receiver and take some of those receptions that they desperately need. Another good pass catcher is rookie Kyle Pitts. He's been a little bit underwhelming compared to the standards people put on him when he got drafted, but he's still been performing perfectly. I think he's definitely good. He's not going to be in discussion for Offensive Rookie of the Year because I think that Jamaal Chase has been destroying competition, and I think he will end up bringing in Rookie of the Year. But another Rookie of the Year candidate that could be battling him is the quarterback on the other side of this game in Mac Jones. He has been playing wonderful, had a beautiful game against Cleveland last week, and I think he's going to continue that today against this poor Atlanta defense. But getting back to Kyle Pitts, he has been very good for Atlanta's offense. It's mainly been him and Cordell Patterson working together. Matt Ryan's favorite targets are obviously those two people, as they are leading their respective stats. But as I said earlier, I don't see this offense going anywhere without Cordell Patterson. I can make a connection to science. He's a catalyst for this Atlanta Falcons offense. They need him to succeed. And if they don't have him, I don't think they can succeed. Especially playing a good New England defense. They have Matthew Judon. They have pass rush. They are not the greatest at cornerbacks, but they're still good enough. The safeties, they're good enough. Devin McCourty, obviously very good. But like I said, they need him to succeed, and I don't see them succeeding without him. So unless Kyle Pitts has the game of his career, which shouldn't be insanely difficult because he hasn't had any insane games, but he has had some pretty good games. But unless he can go off, Omani Zacharias, he's going to be the lead receiver, pass catcher at that wide receiver position tonight. So unless they can do something, then I don't see it happening. Along with Mike Davis, he might have to step up at the running back position because of Cordell Patterson's disappearance. So overall, I discussed mainly the Falcons because they had that big hit and the injury, but I want to talk about the Patriots. The Patriots have been playing wonderfully, winning a lot of the last games, have been looking perfect, looking like old Bill Belichick is back when he had Tom Brady. Of course, last year they had Cam Newton. A little bit underwhelming compared to recent years, but compared to recent years, they would have had to make the Super Bowl to live up to those because of Tom Brady. Obviously, he's in Tampa Bay now. But Mac Jones, I think it was a perfect pick for them. I thought that once it was a draft day because he reminds me of Tom Brady. Not super agile, good pocket passer. I think he has a good football IQ, and I think if he stays in New England and they can get more weapons around him, specifically at the wide receiver position, I think they will be perfect. And I think they could be a playoff contender, obviously all now. Super Bowl contender, I wouldn't say so, but I definitely think they can make the playoffs. But overall, after everything being said, I think that it's a pretty simple pick. They're favored by 7, and I think New England will end up winning this football game. So now we turn to other NFL news today, and the main headline today, I would say, is Antonio Brown and his vaccine card. So it broke out earlier today that Antonio Brown reportedly had a fake vaccine card, and it was actually one of his former personal chefs that accused him, and he basically told the reporters and everyone that Antonio Brown asked one of his friends to get him a fake vaccine card, and that showed and proof that was fake proofs, obviously, that he got the vaccine, so that way he wouldn't have to follow any of the mandates issued by the NFL. Now, the Bucs later on came out and said that there was no irregularities with the vaccine card, and it looked legit. It did not seem fake. They do not think it is fake, but there's no 100% evidence on either side. Now, obviously, Antonio Brown hasn't played the past few weeks. He's been battling an injury, and you know his past. His past has been pretty bad, so if it does come out as true that he has a fake vaccine card, I wouldn't be too surprised. Now, if it is true, it makes the situation for him a lot worse. Like I said, his past history is not that great, and the injury, everything would just make it seem like this once-in-a-lifetime comeback opportunity could possibly going down the drain. Now, we've seen a lot of things like this where old personal people, close to people, have came out with accusations, and they're usually not always true. This could be a situation where maybe his personal chef in the past had just didn't really like him that much because he changed chefs or something bad happened with them too. So he might be coming out trying to ruin him in some sort of way. All in all, my side is I don't feel like he has a fake vaccine card. Now, he does seem like the person that would have it, like I said, but at the end of the day, I just don't see happening. Turning to other news, probably not the most important news. As you see here, that is Jeff Driskel. I can't even pronounce the name. I haven't even heard of him. He was the former Lions backup quarterback, as you can see in that image. He now plays for the Texans. But some random news that came from the Texans tight end coach is that he actually switched from quarterback to tight end today. Just randomly switching positions. You saw Tim Tebow do it. He failed. So we're just going to have to see how it works out for him. Now, and I'm seeing this now, some breaking news on ESPN. Nothing to really do with NFL, but Shohei Ohtani from the Angels, I believe, just won MVP. So congrats to him. Obviously, I know he was a two-way player, pitcher and hitter, was a perfect hitter, played beautifully. So congrats to him. In other news, more Lions players, Jamaal Williams, he has been battling injury for these past few weeks, been out for the past 2 or 3 weeks, but he is reportedly ready and back to play and will be able to play this Sunday against the Browns. He is ecstatic to be back, and he is ready to get back out there on the field and make the impact he was. I know I had him in one of my fantasy leagues. At the beginning of the year, he started off strong. Obviously, the injury came in. It sort of slowed him down. But I think he'll be able to come back and boost this Lions offense, which desperately needs it. Now to more serious news here. A.J. Brown spoke out today about his experience with depression that he had. He basically said that in the past, and it's still affecting him now, he had some effects of depression, and that it really impacted him. And obviously this is a very serious topic. As I mentioned earlier, Calvin Ridley has personal issues that sort of was like this, and it is keeping him out of football right now because he needs to stop. Now, he said he's fine, he's fighting through it, he's still going to play, he's still going to be at his top level, and I send out my prayers to him. I hope that he gets any help that he needs. I hope he feels better. I hope he can do whatever he needs to do in order to feel better and get better and be able to hopefully perform better than he already is, because he's already great. But it's very serious, and I feel like I need to say something about this because, like I said, it's a very serious topic here, especially just in the world in general, as you hear about depression impacting many people's lives. Usually just bad things. But I'm glad that he was open about it and fine with sharing it, and I'm fine that I think it's good that he's saying that he's fighting through it, so that way people don't always straight up just go full on just, you need to get help, you need to do all this. So I'm glad he said that kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm sending out my prayers to him. Hope he gets better. On to college now. The new rankings came out this week for the college football playoffs. Obviously, Georgia's number one. I think Georgia's the best team in the nation by far, and I think the best game of the year will be that SEC championship, Georgia-Alabama. And the main thing as I move to Alabama is, if Alabama loses that game, does a 2-loss Alabama get into the playoffs? I don't know, because it depends on what everything else happens. Obviously, a big thing is Ohio State. They have Michigan and Michigan State. If they win out, they'll obviously be in the playoffs. They need to win the Big Ten championship too. But man, am I excited to see these final 2 weeks, and including the final 2 weeks and the conference championship week. See what happens here in the top 25, especially the top 4 and the first 2 out. Now, here's one thing I want to point out is a lot of discussion is Michigan over Michigan State. Now, we heard from the head of the College Football Board Committee. He said that they understand Michigan State beat Michigan, but they think that Michigan is just better offense, defensively, special teams. They just think they're the overall better team. But Michigan State still has that head-to-head win over them, so it's been causing a lot of chaos around why is Michigan State not higher than Michigan if they beat them. And that also carries me to Oregon and Ohio State, because we see, my opinion, Ohio State's better than Oregon. Did Oregon go into the horseshoe and beat them? Yes. But the past few weeks, Ohio State getting a huge win against Purdue, winning by, it was either 21-28, big win. But that's where head-to-head comes in on that one, to put them, Oregon, above Ohio State, even though I think Ohio State's better offensively. I think Oregon's a little bit better defensively, but overall, I think Ohio State's just the better team. And to end it off, we are talking about the game of the week this week, which is Ohio State, Michigan State in Columbus. Now, Ohio State is a 19-point favorite for this one, which I thought was pretty surprising, but they roll a 20-point favorite over Purdue, and they easily covered the spread there. In my personal opinion, I think Ohio State's going to pull this one off. I think it will be close through 3 quarters, but I think Ohio State, being at home, being in the horseshoe, we were able to pull away in the 4th quarter, and we were able to get a huge win against Michigan State. And I think after that, I think they will go into Michigan, get a much-needed win in a very close game, and that will push them into the Big Ten Championship, and they will end up being in the playoffs, and we're just going to have to see who they play from there to see if they will move on or not. But one thing I do want to point out is, if Ohio State loses either this game or next game at Michigan, and it still ends up winning the Big Ten East or whatever division they're in, and winning the Big Ten overall, do they make the playoffs? Because they have 2 losses and a conference championship. And if it's that situation, will they be higher than Alabama, who could have 2 losses and no conference championship? So like I said, it's going to be very exciting seeing these final 2 weeks of the regular season and the conference championship. And I'm excited to see what happens in the top 25, top 10, top 4, and seeing who the first 2 out is. But I'll leave you with this in college. Cincinnati should not make the playoffs. They are not good enough. They haven't played good enough teams. They're losing. They're not losing. They are winning closely against bad teams. I don't think that they're good enough. If they played Ohio State, I think they would lose. If they played Michigan State, I think it would be a very close game, but I think Michigan would end up winning. If they played any other team in that top 5, I see them losing. So, I do not think that Cincinnati should make the top 4, should not make the playoffs. Everyone that says they should, you have to get smarter brains, people. So that's what I'll leave you with that. So, to close it out, let's have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow.